Welcome back to SCV Today. You know, I have known this man for so many years. We were just talking about the fact that Chris and Justin and Nick Ferry virtually grew up together. I mean, they really came of age together, and it was really a special time. Let me bring in Frank Ferry, the current city council member for the city of Santa Clarita. And the big news, if you haven't already heard, Frank Ferry has his day job.
Yep. My real job that pays the mortgage.
Exactly.
Yep.
Principal at Alamany High School. Well, effective on Friday, Frank announced that he was stepping down.
Yep.
So you are no longer employed by the Archdiocese.
Correct.
So you are no longer at Alamany High School.
Correct.
So many questions, so many things to talk about. First off, tell us about what precipitated this move to step down as
Do you
principal.
know, it's one of those times, Dave, and we've been buddies for so long that all the planets align at one time. And I'm in one of those perfect storms where everything aligns. So you have 16 years on the city council where I'm leaving just so proud of all the accomplishments. I really heartfelt love this community and feel like I've done the best I can do for 16 years. You have two sons that are just happy and healthy, both out of state in college. I have Jake in the University of Arizona as a freshman. Nick is back east in Massachusetts, had a great career in volleyball, All-American national champ, went to Russia representing the United States in the World Games. He's out looking for jobs throughout the country based on his degree. I've been in education 25 years, 5 years at Nobel, the next 8 years at Valencia High, 4 years at Saugus High, and now 8 years at Alamany. I've brought Alamany, which is my alma mater, I graduated in '83. We've turned it around. We're the largest school, Catholic school in Los Angeles County. We've won 2 state championships in basketball. We've won 7 league championships with the Harrington brothers in Pac-5, going to the semis consistently. We're a successful school where every kid has an iPad. Our academics are among the highest in LA County, where our kids are going to all the top schools. We just won a state championship in academic decathlon. And I learned from Ken Polskamp, there's a art to knowing when to move on. And so I saw 8 years of really changing everything at Alamany and getting to that point where, you know, what more can I do that maybe someone else's new ideas, new leadership, new vision could help my alma mater. And so that perfect storm came where my sons are happy and healthy, they're moved on, the city is at a great place, and I really am one of those young kids where at 48 years old, I don't know if I want to be a cowboy still, a fireman. I know there's other things out there. I passed the bar back in '94. I'm an attorney, and I've been inactive for 20 years. So I reactivated my license. And there's just so many things I want to try. And after 3 years ago, almost dying, my priorities completely changed. And I met someone 3 years ago. I've been engaged for 2 years as of Valentine's Day. Dr. Maury Rahani. She owns a practice out here and one in Pasadena, a dentist. And she is my future that I'm going to be happy. I'm going to be truly the best man I can be married to Maury. And so we're looking to get married this summer. And it just was a perfect time for me to, at 48, still know I have 20, 30 more productive years to try some things that I've never been able to try based on a commitment of being an elected public servant, a dad, or an educator.
You know, we can turn the studio, by the way, into a chapel.
There you go.
So we can.
It just felt right. Maybe we'll do that. Maybe we'll go live on SCVTV.
Tami Edwards is an ordained minister.
There you go.
You know what Ken Polskamp is, though. Ken Polskamp
has done a few weddings. So.
So you know, Frank. So naturally, there's a lot of people that are, they're skeptical about all of this, and of course they're on the blogs and they're all saying it's the middle of the school year. This is a bunch of baloney. There's something else going on. How do you deal with that? Do you just ignore it? And what do you say to those people?
Do you know what? Thankfully, over 16 years, I've gone in battle with the best and the brightest. You know, when you have Jill Klajek staring you down and her crew, you learn early. I'm much more mature than I was when I started this thing back when. And I know that sometimes the least you say is the best you say. And so for me, my truest friends know who I am and that I've always been outspoken and blunt. I have no filter. So whatever's in this head comes out. And so really, I have the best boss, Monsignor Pilato, Bishop Wilkerson. I have to have a hernia surgery as a result of my complications 3 years ago, and they're going to do a frontal reconstruction. And so rather than going and being a principal and then leaving for surgery and then 8 weeks off, it came down to I knew I wasn't coming back next school year.
Okay.
And my employers were extremely gracious, and they said, look, Frank, we'd rather you go in stress-free. You've done an amazing job for Alamany and then complete diocese in all the schools. We're gonna fulfill our contract with you, but we'd rather today you just go out on top, healthy, prepare for your surgery. And for me, it really is my alma mater. I started there in 1979 as a freshman, and the sooner they're able to publicly say, Frank's moving on, they can then make it public that they're searching for the best candidate. And when it comes to finding a principal, there's only a few that can do the job that needs to be done at Alamany. And you want to find those people early. You don't want to announce something in May, June when people have already made commitments and they've already re-signed contracts. So it's best for my alma mater that we look earlier than later, but also Bishop Wilkinson said, look, as soon as people know that you're no longer at Alamany, you now have the option to publicly go out and look for those new career opportunities and make it more public. If I was a principal through June 30th, I'm always going to be a little hesitant. I'm still, you know, that principal,
Right.
whereas now I can now go out and really pursue things.
Right.
You know, let's kind of focus towards the on city right now.
Sure.
Because there's probably no one who is better able to speak about the current state of the city, the current
Sure.
state of the city council, than you. You're stepping aside, but you have been so involved in it since 1998. Maybe we can throw
Right.
up this picture of. Was that 1998?
That was my twin brother.
I can't believe that's you.
That, you know what? My fiance will see pictures of me like there, and she really does not recognize me. She says, that's not you. And I'm like, no, that's me. At my heaviest, I was 425 pounds.
Wow.
I was pure love. And like I told Dave, back then, I thought I still was Brad Pitt. So
Yeah,
I had that cocky confidence regardless of what the scale said.
But let's talk about the city itself. Give us let's kind of start a little bit broad. What are your thoughts right now as after the 16 years of where this city is and the city council as well? We've got a very important election coming up
Sure.
in just a few weeks. Tell us a little bit, kind of starting broad, what your thoughts are about the city.
Well, I mean, I say this really objectively. I mean, I love this community, but we truly are the model city for the entire state of California. I was at Gail Ortiz, now Gail Morgan's housewarming the other day, and I met a council member from Santa Ana, and it was a friend of Joe's, her husband, and he basically said, hey, we envy you guys because every single year since you've incorporated, you're always in the black. You always have a 15% reserve. I mean, here we go through a recession. We're in the black. We have a 15% reserve, and we're still building libraries. We're still building capital improvement projects in the roundabout. That's not happening anywhere else in this state. Other cities are going bankrupt. Other cities are looking and getting rid of staff. The George Carvalho's, the Ken Polskamps, the Ken Striplins, they truly are amazing professionals. And they have always had certain baseline principles that they had. And that's like, you know, during the good times, you save, and during the good times, you make good decisions, because in the bad times, those principles and policies will hold true. And so they would do things like contract out for work rather than take on a new employee and then have long-term pension liabilities. We would look at the pension system and say, okay, we can't sustain this forever. So we committed to our first employees, we're not going to ever touch you. We made a commitment, but now let's look at anyone that comes on at a second-tiered pension system. So we've always had, and plus, we've had amazing partnerships. One of the things that our city manager and council has been amazing at is working with Diane Van Hook at COC and having the Performing Arts Center, working with the Larry Rasmussen and building up Centerpoint Parkway, working with the Hart District and getting the Cross Valley Connector and sharing facilities, working with CLWA for Central Park. We've always been able to have these relationships and collaborations rather than fighting each other and butting heads, which just never pays off for anyone.
Now, you mentioned saving money and spending money wisely. Here's my question. Here I go.
Yeah.
Okay, so in March, Tim Ben Boydston brought up the 2009 Mayor Dude campaign,
Sure.
which I thought was brilliant, by the way.
Yeah.
Then he wanted to start an independent expenditure commission and all this on that. How much did that cost the city?
The Mayor Dude campaign?
No, the looking into it with the attorney fees and all that. I mean, doesn't
We
that?
actually never did look into it. I think the council at the time, if I remember, actually, I think he had at the time had looked, and he and some of his followers had actually called, I think, FPPC, and had called the district attorney for the LA County. And so he was trying to get some people to help him back his position that there was something done wrongdoing. The reality is here in the city that each mayor over the course of these 25 plus years, they've come up with a way to connect to the public in order to better communicate. So Assemblyman Cameron Smythe, who I had breakfast the other day, he did cookies with the mayor, but he went around and did town hall things. Bob Keller did his town hall community. For me, I'm known about youth. I'm known about helping our teens and helping our educators best have kids reach their potential. So Gail and we said, let's do the Mayor Dude thing. And the thing that always made me laugh is people never even knew it was Frank Ferry. When you looked around at posters, you looked around at the campaign, Frank Ferry never appeared on any of the materials. It was Mayor Dude.
Right.
And so I went around that year, and I think I went to 30 elementary schools. I went to every high school, every junior high. And my whole commitment was schools giving back to their community, doing volunteer projects.
Right.
And every school I went to made a commitment to the community to either clean up the river, plant trees, do something positive. And so I will stand behind that to this day. And naysayers like Tim Ben, I mean, I don't know. The thing that I will leave this council after 4 years with Tim Ben, I know everything he's against. I know nothing he's for. And so I hope people really look to this next campaign, because we really are at a crossroads where it was difficult not to run again, but we're at a crossroads where people really need to choose a person that will continue the legacy of the past 25 years council, of those founding Buck McKeons and Carl Boyers and George Pedersons and Jan Heights and Joanne Darcy's. They have to continue that legacy. If somebody's coming in and they're part of the Tea Party or part of the anti-government, the only reason we are who we are is because of Ken Striplin and his staff. If we elect someone that's going to be negative to city staff, if we elect someone that's going to be negative to government, then you're looking for a community that's going to go backwards. You're going to look to a community that doesn't take chances. You're going to look to a community that actually we're not going to be proud of because it's going to shut down, and similar to the federal government when it shut down this last year.
Yeah, it's not good to get someone in there that wants to go backwards and say this happened, 5 years ago. So you want them to move forward.
Guys like, I'm not going to mention names, but if he can get other people elected that are similar to him, I mean, they really believe that there was a second shooter at JFK. They believe that there's a Sasquatch out in the woods. There's a Loch Ness. I mean, they just
What have you got to lose by not naming names here, Frank?
Well, I mean,
Who are you talking about, Francis?
He loves and cares for this community, but when it comes to government, he thinks he's protecting the taxpayer, but the reality is he wasn't elected to represent, and I think that's where we disagree. He believes he was put in office to represent those who elected him. And the reality is very few people elect us to city council. We have 200,000 people in this community. Our job is to do what's best for all 200,000 people. Our job is to do what's best for the people who did not vote. And so to think that you're there to specifically push an agenda for people that are anti-government, anti-city, anti-everything, that's not why we're there. We're a representative government. Our job is to do what's best for the city despite getting reelected.
So speaking of elections, do you know who you'll be voting for in the next election?
Well, for sure I'm voting for Lorene and Marcia. They are true public servants. I mean, we don't always agree, but I can tell you right now, Lorene West and Marcia McLean, they have the heart of gold when it comes to this community. They absolutely love it. They've been through all the battles. And the thing that people don't understand is I've lost so many friends, whether it's through my church, baseball, soccer, my neighborhood. I've been on 5 elections. I was in first. My Valencia Valley is where my sons went. Every election, even the first one I lost, I finished first in the area around Granary Square. After the hospital election, I finished dead last. And people would not talk to me that I knew for years. Every time you go into a city council chamber, there's going to be 300 people. 150 want you to vote yes, 150 want you to vote no. They may agree with 99 votes that you've done over the course of 16 years, but that one vote that matters to them that day because it affects their lives, that is what they'll judge you on forever. And so a lot of people don't realize that when they elect someone, they better be able to make the hard decision. They better be able to vote yes or no based on what's right for the community and not try to be popular. You don't go into politics. City government's the best government of all. Why? There's 5 of us, we only need 3 votes. The state government's completely screwed up. It's just completely dysfunctional. I see the federal government going that way now more so. And so at the city level, I can proudly go around and look at the Central Park, the Newhall Community Center, the library, the Aquatic Center, the Cross Valley Connector, which is one of my greatest prides, and say, hey, I had a part of that. I helped build a city, and I just had a great 16 years.
So are you going to go out? Sorry, Dave, you're going to say something. I jumped in. Are you going to go out and say who that 3rd vote's going to go for?
Do you know what? At this time, no. I will say that I'm disappointed because some of our best and brightest people that should have ran did not run.
Tim, I just couldn't do it, Frank. I'm sorry.
Well,
I was too busy.
A guy like Tim Burkhart would have been absolutely amazing. Tim is a planning commission. He's rational, reasonable. Tim did not run because he just got a promotion through Six Flags. And I'll tell the community this. The best council member, and I've served now with quite a few, the best council member we have ever had in this city, and I mean this with all my heart, is Lori Ender. Lori Ender is one of the most intelligent, creative, brightest people who was able, she was PTA president for all the PTAs. She was one of the founders of, I think it was Extra or Access Hollywood. But she was able to get in front of a group of people and really bring government to a real simplistic level for people to understand. And it's such a shame that she got caught up sort of in a tornado. But I've served with some of the best people, and this community really lost, I think, one of their best advocates. And when people see people like Lori have to go through the negativity, when they see me sitting there and really trying to do my best, and you have Cam Noltmeyer week after week just hammering you with misinformation and all these negative people, what I found is your best and brightest that really should be running, for $1,500 a month, they're thinking, why would I want that stress? Why do I want that negativity and that toxicity in their life? And so I really think when I look to the 13, 15 candidates, you don't have necessarily your strongest pool that we should be having in this election with an open seat.
We want to take a quick break.
Sure.
Can you stick around for another segment?
No problem.
There's so much we want to talk about with you.
I'll stay around for 3.
The future is the future is bright for you, and we want to know more about that. We're going to take a quick break. When we return, more with Frank Ferry.